जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Ananta Dev, Prahlad Narasimha, Jaya Ananta Dev, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिगोवर्धन की जय. ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय. मथुरा धाम की जय. द्वारका धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगा माई की जय. यमुना माई की जय. भक्ति देवी की जय. तुलसी महारानी की जय. समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. गौर भक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatas Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hari Om Tat Sat. So Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for today morning Srimad Bhagavatam class of ISKCON Seshadripuram. Today His Grace Padmanabha Chitta Prabhu was supposed to take the class, but yesterday evening something urgent came up from his work front and he is not able to do the class today. So I am standing in for him. Fortunate to be able to serve the Lord by whatever little I can speak on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So today we will be discussing 3rd canto, 17th chapter, 15th verse. And this chapter is entitled The Victory of Hiranyakashipu over all the directions of the universe. So we will see the verse now. Drishtvan yamscha mahotpatan atattattva vidah prajaha brahmaputran rite bhita mener visva samplavan. Drishtvan yamscha mahotpatan atattattva vidah prajaha brahmaputran rite bhita menire visva samplavam. Drishtvan yamscha Hare Krishna. Was I
Sorry, Prabhuji, I muted by mistake.
oh, okay, you muted me. Okay, so I thought maybe I was all the while being on mute. Thank you for confirming. Drishtvan yamscha mahotpatan atattattva vidah prajaha brahma putran rite bhita menire visva samplavam. Word by word meaning. Drishtva, having seen, anyan, others, cha, and maha, great, utpatan, evil omens, atat tattva vidaha, not knowing the secret of the portents, prajaha, people, Brahmaputran, the son of Brahma, the 4 Kumaras, rite, except, bhitaha, being fearful, menire, though, Visva Samplavan, the dissolution of the universe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Marking these and many other omens of evil times, everyone but the 4 sage sons of Brahma, who were aware of the fall of Jaya and Vijaya and of their birth as Diti's son, were seized with fear. They did not know the secret of these portents and thought that the dissolution of the universe was at hand. Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, the laws of nature are so stringent that it is impossible for the living entity to surpass their enforcement. It is also explained that only those who are fully surrendered to Krishna in Krishna consciousness can be saved. We can learn from the description of the Srimad Bhagavatam that it is because of the birth of 2 great demons that there were so many natural disturbances. It is to be indirectly understood, as previously described, that when there are constant disturbance on the earth, that is an omen that some demoniac people have been born or that the demoniac population has increased. In former days, there were only 2 demons, those born of Diti, yet there were so many disturbances. At the present day, especially in this age of Kali, these disturbances are always visible, which indicates that the demoniac population has certainly increased. To check the increase of demoniac population, the Vedic civilization enacted so many rules and regulations of social life, the most important of which is the Garbhadhana process for begetting good children. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna informed Krishna that if there is unwanted population, Varna Shankara, the entire world will appear to be hell. People are very anxious for peace in the world, but There are so many unwanted children born without the benefit of the Garbhadhana ceremony, just like the demons born from Diti. Diti was so lusty that she forced her husband to copulate at a time which was inauspicious, and therefore the demons were born to create disturbances. In having sex life to beget children, one should observe the process for begetting nice children. If each and every householder in every family observes the Vedic system, then there are nice children, not demons. And automatically there is peace in the world. If we do not follow regulations in life for social tranquility, we cannot expect peace. Rather, we will have to undergo the stringent reactions of natural law. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्प तरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जय पताका स्वामिने नामिने नम आचार्य पादाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिने गौरकथा दामताय नगर ग्राम तारिणे। We'll just read the translation once more. Marking these and many other omens of evil times, everyone but the four sages, sage sons of Brahma, who were aware of the fall of Jaya and Vijaya and their birth as Diti's sons, was seized with fear. They did not know the secrets of these portents and thought that the dissolution of the universe was at hand. So here Prabhupada writes a very, very powerful verse, powerful commentary. And these are, very real. It's not like, okay, we can just casually take it. These are very, very, very real and very, very much present for us in terms of our life, day-to-day life. So this is something which is very important and a very, very grave one at that. So let's try to go a little bit into the depths of this one. We all know Diti, because of her whatever, the lusty desire, she forced her husband to have a relationship in a very inauspicious time, for particularly for procreation, an evening time when one is supposed to be very much aware of the presence of Lord Shiva and should be in a prayerful mood. But somehow, because of her lusty desire, she forced her husband to engage in a relationship with her, and because of that, the two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, were supposed to be born to them. So this was all very strongly discussed. But here the point is about how the demoniac personalities actually come into this material world and how they are actually creating havoc to the people at large, and therefore how one has to behave, if you have to avoid such a situation. Of course, here it's mentioned that the four Kumaras, they were not at all afraid, because this is the difference between a real devotee and someone who's in the karmic reactions. Here, particularly, these four were actually surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they knew exactly what was happening. They knew that it is happening because of their particular interactions with the Jaya Vijay, the two doorkeepers, and their curse to them. And as a result, the Lord personally came, and the Lord has actually, in a way, decided that the earth should have some situation like this, by sending these two doorkeepers as demons. And the Lord also actually wanted to have some fun, of wrestling with some powerful personality. So that is one of the other angles to the whole thing. But while one can immediately say, oh no, this happened because the Lord desired that, but then there's nothing to do with the behavior of the persons who procreate such personalities. It is what is Riti's wrong here? It is the Lord who wished that these demons should be coming out here. So now why are you blaming Diti? It's not her action which caused this. One can take a line like that. But then you should also therefore question, then why Diti? Why not someone else? Right? So there is, while it's desire of the Lord, it is also because people on the material world are not behaving properly, and therefore it's also a kind of a punishment. These are things which we need to, these are subtle things which we need to understand. Not punishment, it's a way how law of nature, Prabhupada very beautifully writes, right? The law of nature, it is very stringent, Prabhupada writes. So, and the Lord by his desire is facilitating that process. If you can also look at it that way. It's not that, okay, the Lord decided that, all of us should suffer here, and therefore he sent these two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, and make people suffer. Because the people are actually asking for it. That is the reality. The law of nature is that we are governed by our karma, and whatever I sow, I reap. And there was, this time possibly is very ripe for that kind of a situation, and therefore the Lord has to facilitate it, and therefore he desired that Jaya and Vijay come over here and fight. So this could be different ways of looking at it, but this seems to be the more important thing. And we can see that is continuing, like these were the first demons, right, like Prabhupada is writing here, right, the first demons, and possibly the world had not seen such demons earlier. So this is a first experience for them. Even in their womb, when all the environment is already disturbed, and they are fearing it. Why is this like this? Why is this like, there is complete darkness for hundreds of years like this, even before these two children are born. Imagine what will happen after they are born. And Prabhupada incidentally also writes, right, this is just these two demons which are creating so much havoc, but in today's Kali Yuga, there are so many other demons. So, and the cause has been also mentioned, like Arjuna in the second chapter talks about this, why he does not want to fight. Arjuna is saying, oh Krishna, I don't want to fight this war, because if I fight this war and if we kill all these men, and in that war there are millions of men, so many yojanas they say, right? I don't remember exactly how many, but there were so many yojanas of men fighting. That means entire, and it's a global war. It's not like happening in just one small portion of North India, no, or maybe within a small constituency or something like that. This is a global war. The Mahabharata was a war which was involving the entire universe. There were all these Kshatriyas, they were spread across the globe, ruling, and they all came and participated in this Mahayuddha. Therefore, there were millions of men. And in that war, if these men were destroyed, then the women are exposed. There is no protection for the women, the married women particularly, and even the unmarried one naturally will not have any suitors. And then there could be a lot of what do you call, illicit relationship, and because of which Varna Shankara population will develop. Arjuna will say that Varna Shankara are these illicit children, and when illicit children are born, it actually destroys the family tradition, right? Then there is no samskaras which are happening. They are very demoniac in nature. There is no elders to guide, because it's an illicit child. Where is the elders who are there to really help? Uh, you know. Uh, to give a nice cultured education, Vedic education to the children. It's all like that. And as a result, the entire world is disturbed. That means everybody's life is going to be in a really messy situation. So this Arjuna is all saying this, and that is the reality of the world. That when population, we leave it at the head and then we try to catch the tail. That's what is happening. Prabhupada also writes about all these United Nations and all these efforts. Everybody wants peace, but you have not acted correct in the first instance, and then you are trying to solve it when everything is in a very bad state, and that too we are approaching in a wrong way, right? That's the whole thing about Kali Yuga. Everything is ulta. That people talk about, and this is only a simply farce. That okay, we want world peace. These United Nations are uniting all these nations. Prabhupada is very, very, sometimes when you read Prabhupada's books, it just clears away all the haze and just directly goes to the root of the problem. And maybe, in today's context, if we see, it will look like, it's not very diplomatic, how you say, like, for example, when two countries are fighting, when there are some things are happening and India has to respond to that, then how you word that document, right? How do you make that joint statement or whatever? If you see, these words are very, very carefully chosen in such a way that it does not make people feel that it is harsh. But the fact is, the matter has to be told harshly, right? But then these people sugarcoat it so nicely that at the end of that, it's only a hogwash. What they call it is like a eyewash. Nobody's serious about it. They just say it for the heck of it without really wanting to hurt each other. You pat my back, I will pat your back, and both of us will enjoy and go down the drain. This is the kind of thing that is happening in the United Nations. But is that going to solve our problem of really bringing in peace? So Prabhupada is therefore trying to make us understand what is the root cause of all of these problems that we have. That means we should not be inviting trouble with our behavior in the first place. We will discuss that in depth. Then the question can come, but then everyone is acting in their karmic reactions, and therefore these people who are demoniac are also to be born in this world. How can that be avoided? Right? Someone can take that stand. Therefore, why is it that we are being critical about it? If everybody is behaving so nicely, then there will be no demoniac people, and they are also souls who want to come and do these disturbances, right? That's their karma. They are supposed to do it. Therefore, why is it that that should not be facilitated? Yes, that should be facilitated according to the original law of what you call the creation, where everybody who has whatever wishes, that if that needs to be fulfilled, they have to come over here. Wishes means those wishes which are inimical to Krishna. Because if you are favorable to Krishna, you are anyway going to be there in the spiritual world. But if you are inimical to Krishna, then you are sent to this material universe where you can do whatever nonsense you want to do and bear the consequences. So these guys also are people who are supposed to be, who are inimical, so they need to come to this material world to create all these things. Therefore, how is it that you can avoid these circumstances? If someone may have this question. Question is, yes, these people also need a place. Just like when Kali Purusha was coming, Parikshit Maharaj, he was trying to stop him, right? He was beating these he was beating the ox, and he was actually trying to damage the legs of the four legs of the ox, and the cow was crying there, and then the Maharaj goes there and then he actually immediately tries to attack Kali, and he says, you have no business to do such things, like that. But Kali Purusha pleads, boss, all that is perfect. What you say is all nice, but I also have a role to play in this creation, and then you cannot prevent me from doing my duty. And therefore, Parikshit Maharaj had to make a concession. Okay, therefore I allow you to live in these places, in gold, in where places where there is illicit sex, and then where there is gambling, and there is slaughterhouses, those kind of things, those kind of places. I give you permission to reside in such places. And therefore he was thinking, oh, nice, very good. You have now given me a loophole. And then, you yourself is wearing gold. So let me catch you. That way, that's kind of thing. And then he comes into the world. So that is also a necessity that needs to come in. But that doesn't mean that, it has to be spread all over in every place, right? It can be given a specific place to perform. These demons can be given a specific place to perform their activities, not that that they need to be everywhere, right? So that's how Parikshit Maharaj thought. Okay, let him be in these kind of places where there are adharmic activities. So here, if you see this thing of Diti acting in a lusty manner which is not prescribed for a proper conducive Vedic life, particularly when you are having noble thought of begetting a child. So how it should be performed, that is all been discussed here. And Prabhupada talks about this Garbhadana, that means impregnating the womb of the wife, how that should be performed from a Vedic perspective. So the idea is there is this Garbhadana Samskara, which is one of the process. The idea, the whole process here is the husband and wife are actually making a deep prayer to invite a nice soul to actually come in and occupy the garbha, or the womb of the lady. So Krishna actually says, right, in Bhagavad Gita, he is saying, I am sex life that is not contrary to the Vedic principles. So actually, sex life is not, which is like, horrible, or which is something which should not be thought about or whatever. Krishna says, I am that sex life which is not contrary to the Vedic principles. That means there is a prescribed way in which sex life can be indulged in. And if that is done in that manner, then it is just like Krishna says, I am the taste in water, or I am the strength of the powerful, I am the intelligence of the intelligent, like that. Then in this case, he is saying, I am the sex of the activity when it is happening as per Vedic injunction. Therefore, it is actually devotional service if you really look at it. And Prabhupada says there is nothing wrong in sex life as long as you accept the consequences of that. That means you have as many children as you want. So Prabhupada even says, ISKCON really needs a lot of volunteers, so you can have as many children as you want. Like, so have as many children, and that children don't come manufactured out of thin air. It is part of the result of sex life. So he's okay with it that, you have sex life and have children, but again, you have to follow the process. Like, there is a system that you should perform this Garbhadana Samskara. And I think there is a prescription that you can have a relationship in a particular period during a women's cycle. And then you have, it's like, it's just one attempt. That's it. In one cycle, you can have one attempt. And if the woman conceives, and there ends the matter, then till the child comes, there is no relationship like that. So that's a concession given, but at the same time comes with a lot of responsibility. So if that is performed like that, even now, if you see some traditional families, after the marriage, they, officially in that night, they perform some rituals. So that's also, it's there in some parts and parcels of thing, but today there is most of the population are not even interested in such things. And ignorance, it's basically ignorance, right? Ignorance leading along with, this lack of lack of spirituality, or lack of even basic culture, that people are indulging in such ignorant acts, which is resulting in havoc to the society. So that is something which we should be really worried about, that these people are creating. Now if you see, even marriages are not taking place, right? It is mostly a lot of people are having living in relationship. And Western countries had children before marriage, and today even in India we see those things, we call the single woman concept and all that. It's happening. We can say, no, no, we are all very civilized today. People should not mind the other people's business. Everybody, nobody is killing, nobody is doing, they are all behaving nicely, they are not. But you look at the paper, what's happening? Every day there is gang rape, there is, all these juveniles, literally the 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds are involving again minor girls, and this one. And then people, after that, they kill the whatever, the girl child who's involved in this, the victim. So many such things are happening. And if you look at it, we just casually read the paper, or you sometimes, you see these things in the news, you hear and just move on. There is no real sense of urgency. Oh, why is this happening? That thing is, now we have become immune. We just see it and say, oh, there is something new. Is there anything new? Like, okay, chalo, what is the next agenda in the news or whatever? We have become so insensitive to all these problems, but we are worried. Oh, there is no peace in this world. Why is this government not doing this? We are talking. So this is what I'm, Prabhupada is saying, that without doing what is required, we are expecting, results, and then we blame everybody else. Why is this like that? Um, in fact, I was listening to some classes of Bhakti Vikas Maharaj um, on similar subjects, but he is like, I was saying, even devotees don't care beyond a point, right? They want to be indulged in all these things, but still chant Hare Krishna. Now he was using such words, but if you really go down deeper, maybe there's a lot of fault in everybody, including devotees, that we just ignore. Okay, chalo, what can we do, kind of thing. But these things are happening, and therefore the result of all such activities is this demons who are being born into this world. So it said, if you are actually following these processes, then you are actually inviting very advanced souls into the womb. So now, when such personalities actually come in our families as our children, then what you see, you can actually see they are able to actually be leaders of this world, and they are able to give directions to this entire world. And through that process, actually, you will have so many sattva people around, and that energy of the sattvic people, that merciful behavior of such people, such leadership of such people, will actually be able to guide the rest of the population. And if majority or a lot of them are in that category, then where is the question of conflict? Where is the question of ignorance? Where is the question of people behaving in
Sorry, Prabhuji, we can't hear you.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, there was a power cut here and my Wi-Fi connection went away. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
So, um, so the point here is the benefit of performing these activities. When you perform, if your mood, with the entire concept of sex life, you can expect real peace in this world. And it's not difficult at all, right? People, we can keep on going. It's about how the problem also is in such lusty desires, like, even if you have to look for an advertisement of a soft drink, the kind of advertisement that is created is the mind therefore gets corrupted, and then this leads to a thing. And wherever every small thing which has got nothing to do with the sex, but the projection of the marketing is all oriented like that. Movies are like that, then the advertisements are like that, the TV is full of such things, the literature are full of such things. That pushes people more and more into lusty behavior, and naturally this leads to this kind of a situation. Therefore the orientation has to change. How this orientation has to be changed is only through propagation of the message of Bhagavad Gita. Like, if you are able to make people see, it's not like, it's not sex is something which is new, right? The entire creation has been sustained through this sex life. So there's nothing new. We are, current society is behaving as though, no, this is the time when, all this has come up, and then, everybody should be completely aware, and then you want to teach children right from third standard about all this kind of stuff. Because it is natural, it will anyway happen, right? There's nothing that you need to teach people. Of course, I'm not against modern ways of creating awareness, making children, I am fully with all that. But why that situation came is because we acted wrongly in the first place. Like, why would anybody touch a child in the wrong way? That we are not ready to address, but we are trying to address that, you should learn what is the right touch or what is the wrong touch. But then why is this modern society not able to think that why such situation has come? People may argue, no, these things were there even in earlier times, but doesn't seem to be so, because Bhagavatam is one scripture which actually deals with all the major things, in character. It is there. It's not that, and that has also been captured in Bhagavatam. It is like a commentary which is not biased. It also puts wrong things in the wrong light and the good things in the good light. So it's like a unbiased version of what is happening around. So Bhagavatam is like that. There are many other scriptures which are also there, but nowhere have we seen such kind of children being exploited and stuff like that, to the extent that, in fact, Brahma once suddenly had some little what do you call, undesirable attraction to his own daughter. Can you imagine that? That is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. And immediately when Brahma and everybody were afraid to tell Brahma, how can you tell Brahma that, your attitude is like, stinking. But somehow Brahma, when he realized that, he committed suicide. So these things are there in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not like, but then, in the entire creation and so many billions of years, there are few instances like this, and they have also been recorded. So it's not like, these things are happening only now. Particularly now, it is more so because we are not following the Vedic injunction. So earlier also it was there, all these desires for gratification was there. People were having boundaries, it was there. But today, because of this unnecessary or ignorant way of at this concept of relationship altogether, because of maybe the Western, maybe mainly the Western influence, we have decided to think this is a new completely mismanaged the whole thing. So it was there. People were having relationship. People were begetting children. They were also getting gratification out of this particular enjoyment. But now it is all going to uh, what do you call in a too um, mm, very adharmic way, and then again I got. I don't know. Was I audible the earlier times I was here?
Prabhuji, only for 5 seconds, I think you were muted.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So now the results are very much visible, and the population has become literally immune to all these things. Therefore, it is very important that we spread this awareness in terms of following the Vedic scriptures. So simple way is to actually engage the people in Harinam. You can't really preach, whatever the topic that we are discussing, then you will be dubbed as, you are antisocial, like, you are against the modern way of living. But the basic way of doing this is actually creating positive vibes in terms of making people chant Harinam. So Harinam can actually save everything. However bad we are, we can still be saved by just taking up Harinam. So Prabhupada insisted. Yesterday I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada Lilamrita. So there Prabhupada, he sends devotees to England, right? And they were struggling to establish. He says, you establish a center, then I will come there. So they were struggling hard. They were not able to make it in the initial attempts. So then Prabhupada writes to them, it's okay if you are not able to establish a center. And then he says, it's not about the center. It's about Sankirtan. The temples are secondary, he says. Temples are secondary because our idea is to take Sankirtan all over the world. Temples are needed. And he was saying, temples are definitely needed. But because they were discouraged, and he was also trying to tell them, it's okay if you are not successful in establishing a temple, but then that doesn't stop you from doing Sankirtan in London and other places in England. That, you spread the Krishna consciousness, even if you don't have a temple, maybe temporarily also it's okay. It doesn't matter. So the point is about Sankirtan. How can we take this concept of philosophy of Krishna consciousness to every nook and corner of this world? Every house can actually facilitate. All of us here, like every one of us can do a small program, regular program at our home, inviting. How can this transformation happen, right? We can say, no, this is too much. Even the leaders are not able to solve. How can I solve it? But then where does it start? It starts from us. So each one of us, if we can do some little preaching, strictly following the parampara philosophy, few people, if you are able to educate through our preaching programs, that all adds up, right? If there are 100 people in our temple or 2,000 people in our temple, 2,000 people having small programs, each having 10 to 5 people coming in, it's 10,000, 20,000, 2,000 into 5, let's say, 10,000 straight away, like that. But these are, and if you think about it across, and each of them, once you make someone as a devotee, then that person preaches to 5 people, not like 50,000 people, just 5 people, 10 people. And then this is having multiplying effect. Then the 10,000 into 5 is 50,000. So geometrical proportions it will go. So our endeavor should simply be to be positively thinking about this rather than being skeptical. Can we spread this Krishna consciousness movement simply chanting Hare Krishna, offering prasadam, and nice katha about Krishna? Slowly everything else will fall in place. So with this I will end. We have 5 more minutes. If there are any comments, any corrections or any questions, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Danda Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Prabhu, excellent class, Prabhu, very inciting. And Prabhu, I just want to know, in Treta Yoga and even Dwapara Yoga, when I was reading Bhagavatam, it has been told that there were prostitutes at that time also, and many kings, they used to have many children and like that all. So were there sense gratification at that time also, Prabhu? Is it,
Absolutely, Prabhu. See, that's why I say this material world is because we are inimical to Krishna. It is right from Satya Yuga to today, right? So it's not like in Satya Yuga it was spiritual world. It was also material world. There was these kind of things which were there even then. So it's all about management, right? How the society wanted to organize all this stuff. So at that time, the leaders thought it wise that if someone has such desires, then such like-minded people, including men and women, because these propensities are there, right? There are women who want to have relationship with many men, and there are men who have desire to have relationship with many women, but not all. That's the point, right? There are always some elements in society. You cannot. This place is ashashvatam dukkhalayam. Therefore, such things are always there. So at that time, the leaders thought it fit to create an area, just like Parikshit Maharaj said, this area I am giving it to you. Like that, they decided, okay, we will create an area where these kind of people will live. And then it is restricted only there. You can't, do it right in the neighborhood, everywhere, whatever nonsense you want, you cannot do. And there were few takers for that, naturally. And they were allowed to go ahead and do this. But again, there will be restriction, right? That fellow will not go and harm the neighboring child or something like that, right? He has an outlet, and there are other parties who are willing. That means the opposite sex is willing to do such things. Okay, you do. So that was the concept then. There were this thing, and Kshatriyas, of course, had the opportunity to marry many women also. Again, that was also based on the concept that women has to be protected, but not men has to be married, right? What will happen then? Not every man has to be marrying. Then what happened to the women? So one man married many at that kind of time. But again, these principles were followed. If you see in olden days, there is no, at least not, I have not heard much of this artificial stopping children from coming, right? This is what you call contraception today we talk about. It was not there. So men took responsibility. They had 10 children. If you look at your old family tree, you will see in your grandfather or my grandfather, each family had 8 children, 9 children. That is 10 years of your sex life, right? It's been addressed. It's not like, you have to use artificial means to stop. So they took responsibility. But today that is not there. Today everybody wants to enjoy, but don't bear the consequences of the action, right? So we want double income, we want to work, and don't want to have children, but we have our feelings, we have to. So they get into all this relationship without actually ready to take consequence of having the children. So this is going on. But in those days, there were, like, they say, right, something like, good use of bad bargain, something like that. So people had to, there were these challenges, but they were very mindful of that. Today we are not mindful. That's the whole problem. If you are mindful, then to that extent, the problems are sort of checked. Today it is unchecked. Problems are also unchecked. These actions are unchecked, and therefore the problems are unchecked. Therefore, there is a difficulty in the society. Does it answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thanks for that, Prabhu. Prabhu, one more question.
In fact, Krishna, there was one lady, I suddenly remember this. There was one lady who was a prostitute, and she wanted to have gratification. So Krishna actually says, okay, when, this was not in Vrindavan, but when he goes to, Mathura, there, where after he kills this demon, his uncle, and then he is there. At that time, one lady has this lusty desire towards Krishna. And Krishna, okay, he goes there to that lady and then he satisfies her. But of course, his satisfaction is not the way we are thinking satisfaction. But she actually feels completely satisfied in her life, like that. So there was this prostitute even during Krishna's time. Yes, Prabhu, you are asking some other question.
Yeah. One more, Prabhu. Like normally in our ISKCON also, Prabhu, like as our Guru Maharaj is very strict. He says one should have sex only after 45 days of menstrual period, and then should chant 50 rounds of japa and ask the permission of Guru, and then have sex once, like. And as you said very rightly, once you should have, and with the Guru's permission. But number of times in the classes also there is deviation, Prabhu. Like some Prabhus, they come up and they say it's okay, even after having diksha also you can have sex, you can reduce it slowly, like like this. So what is exactly is the right so I'm little confusion regarding this.
Okay, so see, basically Prabhupada has said you can have as many children as possible. No artificial methods of stopping it, right? So I already mentioned that in a month you can try. There's a period you can try in that period to succeed in impregnating. And if it doesn't happen, that's it, right? You cannot again and again in the next month, another cycle, you can do this. But if you have a child, if the child is impregnated, then that's it. You have in the next when the child is born, whenever the woman is ready for the next child, then it is. But this is allowed. If you are a grahastha, provided. If you are a brahmachari, not allowed. If you are a grahastha, it is allowed. And of course, this is when you take a grahastha ashram, this is the meaning when Guru Maharaj allows you to marry. That is the meaning that he agrees you to involve. That's one side of it. And this happens. But there is also the point of progress, right? You have to understand I'm not the body. So gradually the guy is also supposed to come out of this grahastha ashram mind and come to the vanaprastha stage, where he is not having even even at that stage, not even for children you can have relationship. That's the next stage. Slowly you cut away. Even though the wife is there, it's more friendly relationship that you help each other to do devotional life and not get into a relationship mode. So that is there. About these classes, I will not get into specifics because it is individual, right? Like I do not know what is the level of the person. There is always like something is better than nothing. Maybe it could have been in that mood whoever spoke those classes. But so the strict formula is like this. And even in married life, if any relationship outside of trying to get children is actually considered illicit sex. So that is there. So this is the what you call as the strict rule. But if there is something which is given specifically to some other specific devotee, that could be based on time, place, circumstances, which it is not something which is generally prescribed. So we should not be advising someone with generally in a class like that without knowing what are the specifics. Better that he speaks this to this guru or a very senior grahastha with guidance of Guru Maharaj. Okay, sometimes Guru Maharaj will say, why don't you talk to this grahastha family, the senior grahastha, he will help you out, like that kind of. Mostly Guru Maharajas will do like that. They will know these trusted grahastha disciples whom give good guidance, so they may ask them to speak to them. So they can talk to them. So this cannot be like, okay, this is the law, but the strict law is like this, that whatever I mentioned. To my best of my knowledge, that is the way it should be, it is allowed. But beyond that, any exceptions, it has to be strictly under the guidance of the spiritual master.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. It's very clear.
Yeah. So ideally, exceptions should not be the norm when you give a class, right? You should talk about what is the prescribed method. And then there could always be, I don't know, sometimes in different cases, different situations, which the spiritual master will handle. We are not here to guide individuals in a class when there are hundreds of devotees there.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Prabhu, like how to get, as you very rightly said in the class also, this social media and other things like nowadays, even if you anyway, like sex is given much first priority, and there is they are in fact pushing up all the nowadays children all to have this all sort of illicit relationships, and these things are. So it is going like this. So how one should keep their family, especially the family, because once you start from charity starts from home. So how does exactly family safeguard
So
from
that
all
is the
this?
biggest challenge in today's society. Therefore, how do we do this? Is again, as I said, if we are involving ourselves in devotional activity in a nice manner, positive manner in the family, then the children will also be positively engaged. Of course, they will be exposed because we are sending them to the schools and then they are seeing so many things. This is all beyond a point unavoidable. But as long as the strength is there in the other side, like, see, there is always a negative preaching and a positive preaching. When the positive is better than the negative, the children, this is actually what I call real awareness. Or like, awareness is not simply, okay, this good touch, bad touch. The awareness is what is right and wrong. If you are able to instill that with the children, actually, practically we can see the devotees who are regularly involving in regular programs, giving classes, the children are around there hearing, at the young age, when you hear the right things, they form a strong impression in your mind. They will still be shaken when they come to their teens, when they are seeing the entire world around them doing all nonsense, why am I not? There it requires a lot of hand holding, this is very important. But they will get over it because they have having a very good grounding right from their young age of 5 year or 2 year, 3 year, 4 year there. So that is why, to insulate ourselves, we need to be in devotional life. If we are able to be associated with devotees, getting our children associated with the devotees, hearing classes, these things has a strong impact because it's at the end of the day how you are brainwashed, right? Effectively, the modern world is brainwashing the children in the negative way. So don't allow that brainwashing to happen. Give them the real truth, real tattva. Then they are able to balance and tide over their turbulent age times, like in the teens specifically, they are able to get over it in a quick way. Don't be very negative, be positive, try to understand them, try to be but give a lot of input before they come to that stage of when they start these feelings come in their mind. Can we give a lot of nice Krishna consciousness to them? This will solve all the problems. And we are seeing practically we can do this. We are seeing where devotees are very nicely bringing up children also. There are many other concepts. People say, okay, don't put them in the modern school, you put them in our Vedic schools, or homeschooling. There are many such concepts. Many people are also trying this. Many devotees are trying it. Various levels, various challenges are there. Positive effects are also there. So we need to explore such things. But basic thing is what I was saying, that, we are Krishna conscious and we indulge the family in a positive way. The children happily take up Krishna consciousness, and then when they are exposed to other things, they are sort of insulated, and then at the same time we guide them, we move with them in a nice friendly manner, understand their environment, and help them out of it by the strength of the Shastras.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna. Danda Pranam. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so if I see some chat message here. Okay, so thank you all very much. If there are no further questions, we will disconnect and continue tomorrow with the Bhagavatam class, Temple Bhagavatam class. Thank you very much. Any any shortcomings from my side, please forgive. And if there's something that you have a different view, you can message me. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.